they're out there with the sworn duty to protect the public safety. And if they see an action or a situation that has the potential to compromise safety, they're required to do something about it. All our members, virtually all of them, come from an industry background. They come from 10 to 15 years of industry. They're not your typical public servant. They're second career people. They don't have an allegiance to a public service pension plan or anything else. It's not going to amount to much for them anyways. Their allegiance is to the industry and to aviation safety. And we find that they're almost completely disconnected from the position of the management that they're working for in perspective. We recently did a demographic survey of our members in leading up to negotiations to try and get a sense of how is the new generation coming along and where are we at. And you know, our average age is 52, our average years of service is 11. So that'll give you a picture of the individuals who are dealing with. And there was a comment section in there. We didn't ask any question on the survey about SMS, but in the comment section, there was this unprecedented outpouring of angst and frustration with their employer and what they perceived as their inability to do their job on behalf of the safety interests of the public because of the approach and direction their department was taking. And they felt basically stifled and were, for lack of a better way of describing it, afraid of discipline if they were to speak out in any way, shape, or form. I'm aware of several incidences where transport inspectors have tried to assist members of the public with information that quite honestly it would be considered public domain, and yet told quite clearly you're not allowed to speak to those individuals anymore. Do not have any further conversations with them. It's all about information control now. And my members contact me on a regular basis with information that I call brown envelope. I have a brown envelope file in my office. And things arrive and they expect me to try and fix the system for them. I can't do that alone. And in fact, what we're looking at is we're looking at a system that is going to entrench the ability of management to lock down information, prevent employees from doing what they should be doing on behalf of safety, and in fact dumb the whole system down so that if there is no bad news, you don't have a problem. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'll proceed quickly here. Recent developments, you've seen the frequency of inspection policy canceled. You now only have assessments of the safety management system only, and those frequency of those assessments, quote unquote, can be adjusted depending on the resourcing levels. So there's no hard requirement. The fact of the matter is that Canada's aviation system is simply no longer compliant with International Civil Aviation Organization oversight requirements. ICAO has, in the last couple of years, strongly entrenched the clear statement that SMS is not a replacement for traditional oversight. It is in fact the foundation on which SMS relies. SMS is not doing less, about doing less. It costs you more. It costs you more people, it costs you more time, there's more process, and you have to maintain what you've done before and add SMS on top. So the concept of an additional layer is true if you were to actually do it. But ICAO says you absolutely have to maintain your traditional oversight. And the fact of the matter is that Transport Canada simply is not doing that and has no intention of doing it. It's, you know, they say that we're leading the world. Well, no kidding. But the world is sitting back watching and waiting for us to fall off the cliff. And while the idea of safety management systems from an academic perspective is a good one, it's to be promoted in addition to, not as a replacement of traditional oversight. Recently, we've seen in-flight inspections on international flights canceled. That's just the latest iteration of multiple initiatives to either shut down or retract from inspection and audit programs. You now have a partnership framework that came out at the beginning of this year that will allow for the outsourcing of the remaining aviation sector, remaining sectors of the aviation industry, which will ultimately culminate in the end of next year with aircraft manufacturers being able to oversee the certification of their own products. There is nothing that will be left in this system that will not be farmed out. And the final thing, as recently as last night, we became aware that the chairperson of the SCOTIC has said that the government has ambitions of bringing the bill back to Parliament, and hopefully prior to the summer. We really need to rethink this whole initiative. And we have a unique opportunity here. The experience and the concerns that have been voiced around this room today are very clear in their singular message that what's happening here is not a good thing. And we're all concerned that the traveling public is going to hold us accountable when this all falls apart. But we've got a unique opportunity here in that you have a department that has implemented a program prior to the issuance of the legislation to enable it. And there is lots of information available to, there's lots of rhetoric too about what's going on. But what I would, if I could provide one piece of advice, is don't listen to what people say. Look at what's actually occurring. And that's the key thing to focus on. Thank you very much for your time and attention today.